Dude, Tony, I was going through your bio and you've had a pretty mad ride. So you were born in Taiwan
That's
and
right.
your parents went over to Los Angeles on a holiday at 7 years old. Is that right?
That
You
is
want to talk
right.
to us about that?
I will give you a little bit more in-depth field day of that. Basically, I was about 6 or 7 years old. My dad, like back in the day, my dad ran a company that was making power supplies for computers. Taiwan back in the day was huge on kind of computer chips. I mean, they still are today. And basically building everything that goes into a computer. So my dad was running a factory that made power supplies. So he naturally needed to expand to the US, expand his company. So then he organized a vacation for us to come to the States with the whole family, and later on decided that maybe we need to root ourselves here, get something going in the background so that his company has a footing into the US. And long story short, his company didn't last that long, and there you go. The roller coaster starts, right? So when I was born, it was comfortable. We were comfortable in Taiwan. Then we came to the US thinking it was a new opportunity. And then later on, like everything crumpled for him. And then for the whole family, we were like, what's going on? I was a bit too little to realize what was happening. I have an older brother that really took it to heart, or it affected him more. Let's say he was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
in high school at the time,
Wow.
but it was a tough past. I mean, it's funny that something like that mentioned we're going on vacation, but it had so much depth to it that I didn't understand until much later when I'm grown up and talking to
Yeah.
them what they were deciding and what was actually happening. Um, but yeah, long story short, um, company didn't last. We ended up rooting ourselves here. My mom and dad had to separate because my dad wanted to go back to Taiwan to try to fix his baby, his company that he made from scratch. It was doing
Yeah.
well. You do everything. You throw yourself and everything at it. And my mom and my brother and I stayed here in the States and tried to work it out. And my mom had to get part-time jobs here and there. My brother and I barely knew English at the time, just trying to
Really? So you
start
guys
from
came with
zero,
nothing?
from nothing. Like it was because my dad, being ambitious and everything, he threw everything at it. He threw everything into the company. Now thinking about it, not so smart, but it got my brother and I and the whole family um, basically more prepared, or not more prepared, but more. We built a thicker skin, right? We
Yes.
had to
Yeah, yeah.
make everything on our own and build everything from the ground up. Ever since that basically happened.
But dude, that's insane. But again, in hindsight's a wonderful thing. If he had made it, then you would have, he would have, been the genius entrepreneur. And it doesn't always work out. And then because it didn't work,
Yeah,
you say in hindsight it wasn't such a smart thing. But there's so many entrepreneurs that will also say like, there is no plan B, there is no plan C,
true.
there's just plan A, and you give it everything.
Yeah.
There's no second option. So it's yeah, dude, that's heartbreaking, man. So is he still in Taiwan then? Your
No,
dad?
so he lived there by himself for about 20 something years. And I was
Wow.
just, we were here rooted in the States, learning English, adapting to the culture, now fully adapted and part of society here. He decided to move here and join us. So that only happened
Wow.
maybe, I would say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. He finally let go and said, "Hey, I'll come here and join you guys." And he's loving it. And we take such good care of him. Even though he's technically been an absent father, Um, we take good care of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's beautiful, dude. That's so awesome to hear.
yeah.
So Tony, do you still speak Taiwanese?
I do a little bit. I'm terrible. Our main language is still Mandarin. Taiwanese is like a very distinct dialect that's very a few people speak. I can speak a little bit and understand most of it, but if I really had to, I would be terrible. Even my Mandarin is getting really bad. Yeah.
But what do you speak to your mom? Is your mom fully
I
like
would say
anglicized
Mandarin
or?
mostly, but with my
Okay,
dad, he would
okay,
throw in a few like Taiwanese words. Totally understand, but I cannot like fully converse back into dialect anymore.
okay.
Yeah.
But it's not like they are they're struggling in English and you like I forgot everything. Like you can still communicate.
My mom has gotten better at English, so she can mix it up. But like I can speak Mandarin, I can barely read Mandarin or sorry, Chinese. Um, so communication is not a problem because Mandarin is kind of the go-to when it's family time. But if I had to sit down and read a book or a freaking web page, I can't do it anymore. It's sad. I've lost it.
That's
Yeah.
that's insane, dude. So listen. So then, were you guys in Orange County?
Yeah, so we came straight to Orange County. I mean, if you know LA and kind of Southern California, there's different regions, right? So when a Taiwanese or a different cultured person comes to the States, you can comfortably move to like San Gabriel. There's different towns that support the language and the food and the culture. But no, my parents decided to throw me into Anaheim Hills, where it's primarily, I think, German history, a lot of kind of European influences in this area. So growing up, I was like one of like three Asian kids in town. So they
Wow.
all like they think like I know like kung fu or so, not out of like judgment, like just like they're curious, like wow, this kid is from another country and let's see what he knows that we don't know. So
Okay.
that's kind of how I grew up here. Like I'm still in Anaheim Hills. That's how much I've rooted myself here and even my family. So yeah, I think we're still kind of sorry the dogs, the
No,
dogs bark.
it's okay. It's
Um,
okay. You can grab him if you want. I mean, it's
no,
up to
no, it's
you.
okay. He's
Maybe he
doing his
wants
thing.
wants the limelight.
Yeah, but yeah, I was saying we basically fully saturated ourselves here, and then I brought my family once I had my family back here from LA County, and they love it. They love it. It's the next best thing to having a retired life and some peace and quiet and some just kind of space. There's more space here than let's say downtown LA or something.
Is that where you were living before in downtown
So
LA?
we were living in a small condo with my parents. Um, Ever since then, I've moved at least in my life here. I want to say like 10 times at least.
Wow.
So we're not in the same house anymore. And that condo was, I think it was a lease. I was too young to really understand, but yeah, like kind of life has taken us through many different places, but we ended up back here. It's kind of
Cool.
special.
Mega cool.
Yeah.
So, dude, how? Okay, so I guess some people want to know about the car design thing. How did all that come about?
Could be important.
I mean, throughout high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was terrible at academics. I was just so bad. Um, but one of the relatives or some distant friend of my parents asked that if I was into the arts, then maybe I should check out ArtCenter, right? Just to go look at it and see what it's all about, basically. And when it's your parents' friends taking you or your parents taking you, you kind of go there. You're like, yeah, you're kind of forcing me into this decision, aren't you? So then naturally, you're kind of like a little bit more rebellious. You're like, yeah, I see this school's great, but it seems like you're forcing me to do this. And then I didn't even try. Like I didn't the first time I visited, I didn't even try to apply. But I was intrigued. I was like, wow, you can actually make a career out of this kind of stuff, as most people when they visit this school. Um, and then it wasn't until after high school I got this graphic design job, and it was at a very small tech company called Viewpoint, where they made almost disposable tech, like these cameras, digital cameras that are for kids, and they're always like vacuum formed in a blister. And I was doing graphic design, self-taught, didn't really learn anything or learn anything in high school about it, but just jumped into it and tried it, right? And it was successful. Like I was able to design some packaging, some websites, and they slowly ramped me up in the design world to be able to use like Photoshop, Illustrator, all that stuff, and then print things out and contribute to trade shows. So it was a small ass company, but at the end of the day, they gave me exposure to the right tools and exposures to the right events. And that I will never forget. I think that was great part of my past that I think fueled me and guided me in the right direction. And then 4 years of that, 4 years later, there's this back in the back of my mind. There's like an itch, right? You've visited ArtCenter, you've seen the potential of design. Even my managers at that small tech company were from ArtCenter. And then I kind of got up myself. I was like, am I going to stay here for what, 4 more years and just make kids digital digital cameras? So at that time, I was making my own money. So the decisions I made were much more serious. So then I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. I'm going to spend my own money and go to Art Center at night, which is a thing here where they prep you for Art Center
Ah, okay.
to see if you're fit and get your portfolio going. And I took a few classes like beginners in trans. I already knew I wanted to do cars. So I took beginners in trans and like portfolio preparation classes here in SoCal. And that was kind of life changing as well because then you're exposed to a portion of how companies work because they were also these classes were part of like Mitsubishi Satellite Studio or the Mazda Studio in Irvine, and you got a glimpse into your career just being in class there. So I took that very seriously. I spent my own money, and that's when it clicked, right? When you make the decision on your own, you spend your own money, and you see this as your own future. I did all that, spent about another year and a half preparing my portfolio, and then I applied, and I got denied the first time. I got denied, and I went back to my my little company thinking like, well, shit, I don't have a future in anything. um, so it took me a while. It took me like um, I would say like half a year to another year to recuperate and build my own self-esteem up. To go back with my own money again to Art Center at night, slightly more advanced class, um, and build another portfolio. And my mental stage at that point was much different from the first time because I it was a do or die for me. Because at beyond that, I was like, I'm not good at anything else. So it was like, give this your all, and your internal goal is to be like as good or if like close to the graduates at the time to enter, right? So I gave it all, my
So
everything, right?
first time round, you think you're pushing yourself, but this was like
Yeah,
another level.
this was another level, right? This was like I've been shot down. They said no. I freaking had to recorrect myself and then apply again. Like this time it was like if it's still a no, then freaking A, I don't know. I'll go work at McDonald's or something. Yeah. So luckily the second time got the letter, we got in. Family was happy. They were like, "Oh man, this kid, I don't know what would have happened if it was a no." And so yeah, things worked out. Finally got into Art Center. Luckily all that hardship, like not getting in, working at a small company, using those tools, being familiar with them, really paid off at Art Center. So I was able to keep up. I was able to keep up with the demand and the sheer amount of work that Art Center wants you to do. And it's all mileage, right? As you know, it's all like you put yourself into it. You know, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it.
Who were the tutors at that time? In your night
Um,
class, for example.
so the first one ever one I had was Jason Hill. He still teaches there.
Okay.
He's amazing. And he was teaching things that were so, at the time, you didn't understand it. You're just a kid out of high school. And he was talking about proportions. He was talking about simplicity, not over cluttering. And those things, if you're fresh out of high school, you're like, yeah, that's cool, but I just want to put things on paper. I just want to add things and make shiny things. But he was like, no, just stick to a pencil drawing and make it very clean, focus on proportions. And heck, I didn't know what proportions were at the time. What is proportions for a kid, you know? So he was a huge mentor to me throughout my early years. Another one was David O'Connell. He was the second time he was there when I first prepared my portfolio and failed, and he was like, "What? Like the staff didn't take you in?" And then I recuperated and took his class, his more advanced class later on. At the time, it was at Mitsubishi, but I think that studio's gone. Um, and he helped me prepare for the second time, and luckily I got in. And he was the one that helped us do like marker, airbrush, all that kind of stuff, like traditional medium, even a little bit of vellum, and then a little bit of Photoshop. And he put things into context.
Tony, sorry, 1 second. I thought vellum was just a type of paper.
It is,
Okay.
yeah. The vellum is used strategically for kind of the art center students from my generation. It's like a semi-transparent paper,
Right.
right? You put marker on it on one side and you can double it on the other side. And you can put chalk on one side and fade things on the other side. So it's just in Photoshop terms, it's like having two layers,
Okay.
right? So it was useful to know that medium before entering into Art Center because from my generation, it was like heavy vellum at the very beginning. It was like because the paper is kind of plasticky. I mean, when marker goes on it, it's kind of it doesn't blend. It's like it leaves a little bit of water edges. So you have to learn how
Oh,
to
so there is
control
bleed
that
on
stuff.
it bleeds.
There is bleed on
Okay.
it, yeah. And at the time, Art Center didn't allow specific marker, like ad markers, because it was like poisonous or
Like
something.
what? Like Shark
Um,
Pack.
so they, yeah, exactly that one. They didn't allow
So
that
you guys
one.
had to use
So
what? Copic.
Copic,
Okay.
yeah. So it would leave like water edges around, but you learn to manage it. You learn to work with that medium and the marker itself. So it's good times. I
Wow.
know the the industry and the school education has shifted away from that for sure.
Tell me something. Was Scott Robertson there at all during that time? Did you meet
Yeah,
him?
he was. I did meet him, but he was focused on entertainment
Okay,
designers.
okay.
So he was building up a whole like entertainment group within ArtCenter.
Yeah.
So I got to meet him, shake his hand, talk to him, but I never was able to be taught by him,
But did
which
you
is
know who he was before you met him? Or
oh
oh,
yeah,
okay,
oh heck yeah,
okay.
I've seen his work. You know the fact that he can like draw like lines with the ballpoint pen
He's
like
out of control,
perfectly.
dude. He's out of control.
Yeah,
He's mental.
yeah,
Wow.
it's insane. It's insane. Yeah.
Imagine being taught by that guy at university. That's when you go like, okay, my education is 300 grand, but I am getting taught by Scott Robertson. It's okay.
Actually, the 300 grand is a good point. I mean, another thing when I entered Art Center was it was way too expensive for us. It was ridiculously out of our
Yeah, yeah.
reach. And we basically my mom had to refinance our house at the time for me to go there. So she was all in also.
Gee.
Just hoping that her second son has a future.
Wow.
So I gave it my all to get as much scholarships as I can at the beginning, just so I would make her life easier. And I thought it was good training for myself as well, just to try. And so every term I would put in a portfolio because every term they would analyze people and see if you can get a little couple thousand more or something like that. So every term I would submit one. And then to the point where one of the teachers had to call me aside and said, "Hey, we really like your work, but we've been giving you consecutive money for term after term. We have to kind of spread the love a little bit." Yeah. So I mean, he was being nice. Maybe they just didn't like the work or something. But like, I got maybe like three or four terms of scholarships constantly, and then after that, I just had to figure out like financially how we could pay for all this.
Okay.
Freaking, it was literally like 250 like at the time, like
That's
when everything was
outrageous, dude.
finished.
I know
Yeah.
there were a few guys that I worked with over here that studied there, and they were still. I mean, they still like years afterwards, still paying off
Yeah.
loans. It's outrageous, dude. It's absolutely crazy.
It's pretty insane, and because it's a niche here, right? It's a not many people know about it, and only the people that see it as their career and very focused will attend this. So it's a part of I think it's a part of a thing where Art Center also checks if you're serious about it.
I know, but
You know,
it's like it's
like
so convenient to say that. It's like
it's
we
true.
we were talking. I mean, it doesn't matter there's very mixed like perspectives on that, but I mean, from an outsider looking in, I think
Yeah.
from like a Viscom point of view, unquestionably, probably still to this day, from what I know, I speak under correction, one of the best places
Hmm.
on in the world to go and do that sort of thing. But
Hmm.
does that warrant all that money? You know what I mean? I
I have to
and
agree.
I don't know that can, that might carry on for another 5 years, but I can't
Mm.
see that being like that forever. That
Yeah.
can't. I mean, like, what is it that you're getting for that money? Yes, okay, you could argue that you're around a select group of people, but there are
Yeah.
institutions in Europe that are free. I mean, Pforzheim's one of them. That
Yep.
again, I don't also think it's necessarily all that, but it is a very good school, and it's free, and it's also there's
Yeah.
also only a handful of people that go there, and you are
Hmm.
in a group of for lack of a better term, elite people that are serious about what they want to do, with
Right.
good connections to the industry and all that sort of stuff. But I mean,
Yeah.
is Is that the landscape in America in general, or is ArtCenter particularly outrageous?
I mean, in pricing wise, it's compared to USC, right? Which is one of those schools where you go and you become a doctor out of it.
Okay.
And that's another thing. It's like Art Center, like I said, it's such a niche, right? It's very specific. So I think they can get away with it. Do I agree with the pricing? Of course not. Like I had to bend over backwards, beg my parents to go there. And I agree that, why is it only the wealthy that can go to
Yeah,
a
that's
school like
bullshit.
this, right?
That's not.
That is
Yeah, yeah,
bullshit, right? Talent can come from
yeah.
anywhere,
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So, do I agree with it? No, but I think because it's such a niche, it
Yes.
happens
Yeah. Yeah.
here.
Sure.
It
Sure.
just, it's such a special thing that people, and that's how they keep it also like prestigious, I guess, and hard to get into, besides the whole filtering of the portfolios. And that's how they keep this kind of ambiance or whatever, this hard to reach kind of feeling
Is
about
there
it.
any money from the government at all, like supporting the institution? Because I get,
There
if it's
are,
completely
there are,
private, then they probably say, well, that's our business model. But I don't
right.
know.
There are, in when you get loans
Yeah.
for your
Yeah.
tuition, or if you're like a minority or something, I don't know if it's the school or the government helps you
Yeah.
out. But there are some aided, things that go into, and it's individualistic. Like everyone's slightly different.
Okay.
Um, but I remember that if you're a minority, there was more support.
Okay.
And it's natural.
But
It's
how
just
much
spreading.
support? Like not still not enough to graduate without a ton of debt.
Yeah, I mean, let's say a class of 20 or 30, maybe even, there would be like one or two that possibly gets like a full ride,
Okay.
possibly. And then the few remainder would get maybe like a couple thousand here, a couple
Okay.
thousand there. So it wasn't like 50% off or something. It was
Okay. So
like,
you graduate with like 150 grand's worth of debt as opposed to 250.
that's right.
Cool.
You're totally
Awesome.
right.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. So it's like it takes away 30% of the damage, but then
Cool.
the rest you
I mean,
figure out.
dude, I don't the people that teach there and like the
Hmm.
Viscom stuff is very impressive. And I know that like
Hmm.
when I spoke to Ian Cartabiano, he was saying as well, like, when he went in there to teach, he kind of felt like he needed to give his best for the students because he's like, they're paying so much money that like he wouldn't go in there with anything pre-prepared. Like he would kind of throw himself
Yeah.
under the bus and then like kind of do something from scratch sort of thing, which I thought was really cool. But again, you still question at the end, like, is it worth all that money? But I mean, it does. I think everybody pretty much, virtually everybody gets jobs out of Art Center, right?
Not, I
Not so
mean,
much.
again, it's like, again, a class of 20, if you're graduating together, about two, three get a job.
Oh shit.
Yeah. At least at my time. At my time, yeah. I mean, okay, I was graduating with a bunch of rock stars. So
Who was
that
in your
class
year?
had
Talk to
maybe
me. Was Mike Shinoda in your year?
um no, I don't that doesn't ring a bell.
He's a guy from Lincoln Park. Do you know? But he went to.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
but no, I'm being a
Okay.
dick. He's older. He's a lot older. I think he's in his mid 40s.
I know him now. I
No,
know.
okay.
I didn't want to like. I kind of knew he was famous,
Okay,
but I didn't think like maybe there was a student named Mike Shinoda. Didn't want to disrespect.
Okay.
But yeah, there was Han Bin, there was Marcus Kwan. I mean, people that are very, I guess, popular or famous designers here or
Yes,
becoming.
yes, yes, yes.
Julian that went to Tesla. A few other guys that were just super, super amazingly
Do you know
talented,
Albert Chang?
and we're all
Do you know
friends.
Albert Chang?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I
He's my
do.
boy. I know. Yeah, I work.
You
Yeah, yeah,
really?
yeah. I worked with him in Potsdam. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. I mean, he's a good friend of mine. We went to ArtCenter. I didn't really like have a class together, surprisingly, with him, but um, yeah, we always shoot it up and hang out outside of school, and
Shooting up.
yeah. No, not shooting up. Sorry, that went out. That came out wrong. Sorry. Um, yeah, It's funny because he lives. I think he lives in OC somewhere because I haven't been to his house, but we did bump into each other at the shopping mall when with my parents or something at the Apple store. I was like, "Aren't you in Germany, dude? What are you
But
doing
because he's in
here?"
America at the moment, isn't he?
Oh, he is.
Yes, I
Okay.
think so.
I
Yeah,
haven't kept up
yeah.
with him that much. Yeah.
Cool.
No, he's a wonderful guy, a super talented, awesome personality as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty funny. Yeah, and he's very good very good designer. Very good designer. I worked with him
Yeah.
quite a lot. He's a yeah, great interiors. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tony, I've hijacked the conversation again. So, okay.
Oh, not
Uh,
wor No worries. No worries.
so eventually you made it, like you got in, and
Yeah.
like what was the actual course like? Are you working alongside your studying as well by the time you were full time?
Yeah, so towards the end of my art center, let's say career, or um, basically, I I had an internship at Hyundai, did that for 3 months, came back to school, and then shortly after, I got an internship at DCC, which was Volkswagen Group,
Audi,
um,
VW, yeah.
Audi design back in the day. But it was we were designing for all 12 brands
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time. This was pre-Dieselgate,
Okay.
right?
Shout out to
So,
Martin Winterkorn.
oh boy. But yeah, DCC was a special place. Every designer dreamed of being there. So that was another one of my internal goals, is to get there someday. I didn't think it would be the first job that I get. So I got there as a contractor before I even graduated. At first, I
Don't
was.
worry about it.
Do you hear the
Don't
dog?
worry about it. It's
So
cool.
sorry.
It's absolutely cool. I've got a
Apologies.
dog as well. I've got a dog as well. Yeah.
Okay, good, good, good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, at first I went in as an intern, and then did okay. They liked my work. Then they brought me on as a contractor. And then later on, I was like, hey, I still need to finish up school. I need to at least finish up what I paid so much for, and get my family situated, because they're like, where did our money go? um, so towards the end, I was going to work at DCC at the same time preparing for my graduation. And you would think like the drive from Pasadena to Santa Monica was not that many miles, but it would take me like an hour, hour and a half one way, just because of LA traffic. And I had to plan for that so I can take care of work and take care of the workload at Art Center for graduation all together. So that was, I don't, I don't recommend anybody doing that, but it was a privilege. At the same time, it was an honor to be able to have that kind of opportunity, and allow me to finish school and graduate and have a show and stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, there's some great people in that studio. So yeah, that must have been a great experience.
Oh, totally. I stayed there for 4 years, a little
Oh
bit over
wow,
four
wow.
years. They were they were all like family to me, and when I was leaving, it was super emotional. Like, everybody came out, we grabbed a couple beers and said our goodbyes.
No
But
shooting up.
No shooting
Okay.
up. That was
Okay.
definitely not part of
Okay.
it. This is going on the internet.
So-
But yeah, I mean, we all still keep in touch. It was a well knit a family of people, designers. They're seriously, it becomes family when the whole thing works and everybody is there for the same purpose and goal.
So, dude, what exactly happened with your personal situation when Dieselgate happened? Because, like, I know there was obviously a big pause at that time. I know a lot of people lost their contracts. I kind of timed it, so I was in Potsdam at that time as well, and but I was I was just there for a 6 month contract. My daughter was born, and I had a few months off anyway, so I wasn't there. And like it was literally weeks afterwards, this shit popped up in the news, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" And then I mean, I had some friends in the studio at the time, and they said, "Yeah, things have changed, but
Yeah.
it should." Blow over, it's not like it's not the end of the studio or anything like that. And then I came back the following year, and there was not really any issues. So did you
Right.
lose your contract at that time, or were you
No,
finished anyway?
so eventually I became an
Yeah,
employee, not like a year, I would say like 1 year before Dieselgate
yeah,
happened. And we were so well knit that everybody thought we were just going to ride the storm
yeah.
together, right? But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, Dieselgate hit, obviously things are going to change. And change will happen with satellite studios
For
first.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
Usually it hits us the
yeah.
hardest. Um, so internally, I kind of made up my mind to be open to different
Yeah.
opportunities. Just internally, I wasn't actively searching, but I had different opportunities at the time that came to me, um, that were open for me to possibly
Okay.
take. So that was one of the decisions I made,
Okay.
and what led me to the next chapter, which is joining Lucid. It's called now, but at the time it was
Ativa.
called Ativa.
Wow.
Right.
Cool. So
Yeah.
my other friend Alex Sherrod.
Yes.
Cool.
He was. We were designing very closely on the Air and the next one, together. He was a great mentor
A
as well.
brilliant guy, really, really cool guy. I saw him at Christmas
Yep.
time, but yeah,
Yeah.
cool. And
We know so many
yeah, I
people
mean it's
together.
super. I mean it's super small as well, right? I mean, but
Yeah.
and yeah, I think everybody kind of knows everybody. But I remember that time really, really well because again, I kind of at that time was planning, like I was really excited about coming back to Potsdam. Alex was
Yeah.
there when I left, and by the time I got back in beginning of 2016, he had gone
Yeah.
to California for to
Okay.
join this new startup called Ativa, and obviously none of us
Got
knew
it.
anything about it. Like, there was a lot happening in the like Chinese startup at that time. There was
Right.
Ativa, then there was um, what
Faraday.
Faraday. Okay, in
Faraday.
California, yeah, there was Faraday, there was Ativa,
Yeah.
and then over here, the big thing that happened in Europe was Neo, which was started out
Oh
as
yes.
Next EV. So they were
Right.
also on a rampage in terms of like recruiting, throwing really like attractive salaries out to everybody and whatnot. And it was kind of like, you never know which one's gonna play out, and obviously in hindsight,
Right.
um, yeah, well, Faraday's they've made a comeback now, but they also went through a pretty questionable stage. So,
Yeah.
but the others, touch wood, have stuck around and seem to be doing really great stuff. So, but
Yeah.
dude, that car is so fucking cool. The Air, it's so cool. I spoke to Alex a lot about that car, and I thought it was so fucking rad. It still is. I mean, it's
He,
awesome.
I mean, working under Derek, working under
And
Alex,
Derek,
and the
yes,
whole
as well.
team there.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, the vision was so strong from Derek. Like straight. I mean, now seeing Lucid launch as Lucid, when I was there only for a year, it was still Ativa, and he was planning all this, and seeing every single piece come to life just as he planned was so rewarding to me because just from a third person point of view, I was like so happy for the team there and the successes that they're experiencing now that it's finally public and things are financially a little bit more stable than back
Yeah.
then. But like Derek, Alex, another guy named Thomas Flore. I don't know
I've
if you
heard the
know him.
name. I don't know. I
Um,
don't know him though. Is he a digital guy?
no, he's a
Okay,
designer.
I don't know him,
He,
but I've
yeah,
heard the name.
he's super
Yeah.
talented as well.
Okay.
But yeah, all these guys were super influential at the beginnings of Ativa, and what led to what you see in Lucid today. I mean, the star list continues with like Jenny Ha and Zeb and
I can I
Joanne. They're,
can
they're still
I can
there.
say this now because Jenny's episode is going to be released now. Come like so
Oh, okay.
I've just met Jenny now as well, which was also
Oh,
yeah
super,
yeah
super.
yeah.
Good, good, good. I mean, it's a dream team over there as well. I mean,
But dude, it's also a gift to be able to witness something like that come to life from a personal
yes,
standpoint. Like, yes, obviously, it's awesome, it's great for the team, and that everything's kind of worked out. But it's also, from a selfish standpoint as well, it's just such a special thing to witness, seeing something like
yeah,
that come to life, because that's not something that happens every day. I mean, there's startups everywhere, right? But
right,
there's so many things that have to work out. They had the right guy, in Derek, for example, to kind of lead the ship, and
hmm
thanks to I don't know, the startup gods, everything, all like the money and everything, has materialized as well. And it seems like, I don't know, they've got some special technology, and it's not every day you get to witness something like that firsthand. So that's
oh,
that's very
totally,
cool. And also, like, that product, that form language is, where it's one of those things, when you see it, you go like, it's so fucking simple that I should have thought about it, that you should have thought about it, that everybody should have thought about it. But it's the execution of that idea and that vision that is so strong.
that's right,
It's I it's so fucking cool, and it's so timeless. They've
right,
nailed it. They've absolutely nailed it.
totally,
But Alex
yeah,
Alex talked. I mean, I don't want to put too many words in his mouth, but I mean, he said that, that he experienced such open mindedness with regard to the engineers, for example. They were
yeah,
like willing to, he like, for example, the body side section, they were able to achieve
hmm
that because they moved the door hinges around. And he kind of said to the guy,
right,
like, can the engineer or engineers, can we move the door hinge? And the guy said, well, as far as I'm concerned, this is a tech company. We're in Silicon Valley, and we can try anything. And that's obviously
right.
not something that you would experience in a traditional OEM. So
That is so true. That is so
very,
true.
very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's I can't wait to see those. I mean, to see those cars on the road in a production form, and I really hope that, like, that's one of those companies. I just hope, you know all the things happen. That's in the plans. So
same
yeah,
here,
very
same here.
cool. Yeah. Okay, sorry, Tony. So carry on. Yeah. So you were at Lucid. Yeah.
Oh no, I mean it was good. I mean, Alex was a huge adamant on keeping things simple and making everything very kind of honest to what it was doing. So at Lucid, the vision from Derek, kind of Alex's drive for simplicity, kind of my drive for a little bit more emotion at the time. and Jenny's kind of just raw horsepower for generating amazing ideas, and Toma's kind of overseeing and kind of organizing everything. Like everything was the fact that that car came out how it looked is because of these core teams that everybody's skill sets and beliefs in design come together, and what comes out of it is, you hope that it's good sometimes, but in this particular instance, it was awesome. It was like everybody had the kind of same mentality towards design. Don't overdo it. Keep it simple. You know, we had some early sketches from Alex that were really, really hot, very minimalistic. Like you would say that if Apple ever made a car, like that would be the one. And then I was sketching on the side something more emotional, more expressive, and you can see the intertwine, things of those nature coming together and becoming what it is that you see. But at the time, we were just working on the show car version. It wasn't the kind of the production one that I would say Jenny and the rest of the team took care of.
I just want to tell anybody that's listening that wants to know who we're talking about. It's a guy called Alex Gerard who's got very modest, low profile guy. I don't know. I can't say exactly what he's doing right now. But he's not on the internet shouting from the rooftops like, I did this, I did that. He's very low key. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I think he might be at Apple now.
Okay.
I
yeah. I don't. Well, I don't know. I mean, I know. Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
I know that it's
Okay.
it's a tech company of some description. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not being PC.
Gotcha.
I genuinely don't know. But if you say, then maybe it's true. Who knows?
It might be outdated.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
So right. So and then where were you living at the time? Were you living in San Francisco or?
I was living in a place called Mountain
Okay,
View.
that's where a lot of
In
okay, is
NorCal.
that a lot of the team live there?
Yeah, I mean, we're all spread around. Some lived in San Francisco. Some, if they wanted to commute, but had a better stay at night. Some were living out of their trailers. No joke, like just because the housing is so
Dude, it's out of
ridiculously
control. It's
expensive there. It's
it's
crazy.
like
Like for a two, maybe a one or a two bedroom, it was like $3,000 or something crazy like that a
Jesus, yeah.
month.
No,
It was
I've heard the figures. It's outrageous, absolutely crazy.
I mean, people were living in trailers, getting a boat, living in the docks just to work in that
I would
area.
do that. I
That's
mean,
how
mind you, I
extreme.
don't know. I mean, it's pretty fucking cold though, isn't it? I mean, that part
Yeah,
of
and you gotta be okay with the constant swaying of
yeah,
things.
yeah. It's true. It's true. I mean, it depends
Yeah,
on how calm the dock is. If there's a wall,
yeah.
then it might be all right.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So you were there for a year, and then you joined Genesis.
That's
Cool.
correct. So basically, I was there for a year, and things on the personal level changed. Mm, we were expecting a baby, and towards the towards the later years in later time in my Lucid or Ativa career, my wife was staying in SoCal and I was the only one up there. So when she had the baby, naturally I had to come
Yeah.
back. I had to be there for the kid, help out. So
Stop shooting up.
stopped shooting up, got clean. Oh boy, this is gonna go far. Anyway, decided to come back. Luckily, there was again opportunities that I could possibly choose to join Genesis at the time, and at the time Genesis was not established. Like There were a couple sedans, but it was not like a standalone
Yeah,
brand yet. It
yeah.
was still hitched with
Yes.
Hyundai. So I didn't know what I was really signing up for, but I said yes because it seemed exciting. It seemed like a startup, but it had a financial
Right.
foundation, right? It wasn't as much of a roller coaster as a startup that was looking for financial support. So I came back. We had the baby. Obviously, everything changed, as you know,
Yeah.
and have been at Genesis ever
Wow.
since. It's almost 5 years now. But yeah.